We've all been sold a story. It's a beautiful, comforting narrative about the golden years, a time of well-deserved rest, peaceful hobbies, and happy family gatherings after a lifetime of hard work. But for millions of our elders, this story is a lie. Behind the closed doors of quiet suburban homes and city apartments, a silent epidemic is unfolding. A recent meta-analysis exposed a shocking reality: nearly 1 in every 4 adults over the age of 65 experiences self-neglect. This isn't just about forgetting to take a pill or having a messy house. This is a profound and dangerous pattern of decline, from poor hygiene and malnutrition to skipping critical medical care. It is a crisis so widespread that it adds over $1 billion in preventable costs to the healthcare system annually. But this isn't a story about statistics. It's about the deep, dark, and complex web of forces that pulls vibrant, capable people into a downward spiral. This isn't laziness, and it isn't a choice, so what is really happening? Today, we're exposing the hidden reasons why our elders are fading away before our very eyes. The first blow is often the most intimate and brutal. It's the betrayal of one's own body. Imagine waking up one morning and your hands, which once built, held, and comforted, are now gnarled claws of arthritic pain. Buttoning a shirt becomes a 10-minute battle against your own fingers. The simple act of standing up from a chair sends a shockwave of agony through your joints. This is the daily reality for over 54 million adults suffering from arthritis alone. For millions more, it's chronic neuropathy, where the sensation of touch is replaced by a constant, burning fire, making the feel of water in a shower or clothes on the skin an unbearable torture. What used to be a 5-minute task now feels like climbing a mountain. Now, add to that the slow theft of the senses. Vision begins to blur, making it impossible to see if clothes are clean or if a spot on the skin is a bruise or something more serious. Hearing fades, turning the simple act of bathing into a hazard. Did they hear the water turn off, or is it about to overflow? Their own body, their oldest and most trusted friend, has become a prison. And as their physical world turns against them, they desperately turn to medicine for salvation. They have no idea it's often a Trojan horse, unleashing a new enemy from within. This is one of the most insidious and under-discussed scandals of modern aging: the chemical betrayal. Almost 90% of adults over 65 take prescription drugs, and over half of them are on 4 or more. They are given pills for their heart, pills for their blood pressure, pills for their pain, pills for their cholesterol. Each one comes with a promise of a longer, healthier life. But what no one talks about is the toxic cocktail these medications create. The most common side effects are a brutal assault on the very essence of self-care, fatigue so profound it feels like walking through cement, cognitive fog that makes remembering simple routines impossible, dizziness that turns a shower into a life-threatening risk, and a creeping apathy that smothers all motivation. They're told to eat healthy, but the medication makes them nauseous. They are told to stay active, but the pills leave them exhausted and dizzy. The cruel, vicious irony is that the more health problems they accumulate, the more pills they are prescribed, and the deeper they sink into a zombie-like state where the energy to simply brush their teeth or change their clothes feels impossibly out of reach. The very thing meant to save their life is stripping them of their will to live it. This chemical assault on the body is devastating. But it often works in tandem with a quieter, more profound collapse happening inside the mind. For many older adults, the world has become a museum of loss. The death of a spouse, a sibling, or a lifelong friend doesn't just leave a void of sadness. It removes the very purpose for self-maintenance. One of the most heartbreaking things you'll hear from a widow or widower is, "Why should I bother? There's no one left to dress up for." That simple phrase reveals a profound truth. For many, self-care was an act of love and connection. When the audience is gone, the performance stops. This deep well of grief is fertile ground for the clinical beast of depression, an illness that affects over 6 million American seniors. Depression isn't just sadness, it's a thief that steals energy, memory, and motivation. It makes it difficult to remember when to take medications or to follow through with a doctor's appointment, creating dangerous gaps in care. This internal battle is then amplified by a paralyzing health anxiety. Many seniors actively avoid looking in mirrors to escape the sight of their own physical decline. They shun doctors because they are terrified of hearing bad news. This avoidance is a desperate attempt to control their fear, but it only ensures that manageable problems spiral into full-blown crises. As the battle rages within their minds and their bodies, the world outside begins to shrink until there's almost nothing left. Imagine your world slowly, methodically being erased. This is the incredible shrinking world of the isolated elder. Your social circle, once a vibrant network of friends, colleagues, and neighbors, diminishes with each passing year. Friends move away or pass on. Children, with their own demanding lives and careers, have less and less time. The senior centers and community groups that once served as vital lifelines were, for many, decimated by the pandemic and never fully recovered. This leads to a terrifying loss of what experts call accountability partners. When you live alone and no one is going to see you for days or even weeks, the incentive to shower, to dress in clean clothes, to maintain your appearance simply vanishes. Who will notice? Who will care? This isolation is compounded by one of the most disorienting experiences of aging, the loss of identity. A man who defined his entire life by his work as a provider and a professional suddenly retires into a void. A woman who saw her value in her role as a mother finds herself in an empty nest. When the roles that gave you a sense of purpose are stripped away, the question becomes, who am I now? And in that empty space, the motivation for self-care, for presenting a version of yourself to the world, dies. To be trapped in a failing body, a grieving mind, and a silent home is a private hull, but it's made infinitely worse by a system that seems designed to crush them. If you want to see a true betrayal, look no further than the systems that are supposed to be a safety net for our seniors. For over 17 million older Americans living at or below the poverty line, every single day is a series of impossible choices. A fixed income, which is constantly being eaten away by inflation, forces them to decide between life-saving medication and a bag of groceries. They must choose between paying the heating bill or buying the toiletries they need for basic hygiene. They are told to see a doctor, but the average Medicare beneficiary still faces over $5,000 a year in out-of-pocket costs, a figure that is simply unattainable for many. The very system designed to provide health care leaves gaping holes for dental, vision, and hearing the very senses they need to maintain their quality of life. This financial pressure is then compounded by a health care system so complex it feels like a nightmarish labyrinth. Navigating the different parts of Medicare, supplemental insurance, and prescription plans is a full-time job that can confound even the most well-informed person. Now imagine trying to do it as an 80-year-old with cognitive fog from your medications and no one to help you. It's a system that feels designed to confuse, to deter, and to break you down until you just give up. And when your body, your mind, your social world, and the system itself have all failed you, a final, tragic surrender begins to take hold. This is perhaps the most hidden and devastating reason of all. It's a psychological phenomenon known as learned helplessness. It's what happens when a person experiences so much failure, frustration, and lack of control that they simply stop trying. It's not a conscious decision, it is a deep, psychological surrender. After repeatedly struggling to open a jar, or being let down by a system that won't help, or trying to manage their pain and failing, they learn a powerful, subconscious lesson: their efforts are useless. They come to believe that they have lost all control over their own lives. In a cruel twist, this is often reinforced by well-meaning family members. By rushing in to do everything for their aging parents, from cooking all their meals to managing all their appointments, they inadvertently send a powerful message. You are no longer capable. They strip them of the last vestiges of their independence, cementing the belief that they are helpless. This is the final piece of the puzzle. This is why the neglect happens. It's not laziness. It's not a choice. It is the end result of a long, brutal war fought on multiple fronts where surrender feels like the only logical option left. This isn't just a list of sad reasons, it is a pattern, a blueprint for a perfect storm that is sinking our elders. It begins with the body becoming a prison of pain. It's accelerated by a chemical betrayal from the very pills meant to help. It's deepened by a mental collapse from grief and depression. It's cemented by the silent, shrinking world of isolation and lost identity. It's made inescapable by a broken system that offers hurdles instead of help. And it culminates in a final, heartbreaking psychological surrender. Self-neglect is never the problem. It is the final, desperate symptom of a life that has been completely and utterly overwhelmed. The solution isn't to look away, to judge, or to blame. It is to understand. It has to recognize these hidden forces at play and to realize that when we see an elder who is struggling, we are not seeing a failure. We are seeing a survivor of a silent war, and by understanding their battle, we can finally begin to offer the kind of help that matters and work to make the golden years a promise we can finally keep.